Hi, everybody. Welcome this evening to our next webinar. This is the GYN Cancer Survivors Group, although we sort of spread out into a broader survivorship population than just our GYN cancer survivors, and also often have many of the caregivers who join us. And tonight is a very good topic for everyone, not just for cancer patients or cancer survivors. And what we're going to talk about tonight is really movement, developing a movement plan and movement options for each of us, an individualized approach. And we're all familiar with exercise and that word exercise, but there's lots of different actual options that we all have. Words that get bantered about, concepts that get thrown around, and we're very lucky because tonight we're going to have some experts talk to us about some other methods of body work, so to speak, mind body work. I don't mean body work, mind body work. So tonight we have Antoinette Solnick, who is originally we met actually. She's co-directed the survivorship conference with me in the past, and it's been a pleasure working together. And in her next life, I'll call it, she has been studying yoga and getting her I think certificate is the correct language. And so she's going to be here with us tonight talking about breathing and yoga. Mindy Flamwitz is, and I always mess this up, and anybody who's come to any of our survivorship conferences right now is laughing and wondering if I'm going to pronounce it correctly, but is our Qigong expert. And so we'll be demonstrating for us. And then Dr. Gould, Netta Gould, is a mindfulness expert, both from a personal standpoint and from a professional standpoint, and really has taken the concepts of mindfulness and exported them to all of us here as faculty at Johns Hopkins, running programs for faculty and to our patients and to the staff. And I had met her and interacted with one of her 10-week programs in the past. And then over the course of COVID, her work has been a central opportunity for everybody in the Johns Hopkins community to come together. And she's been doing some, I believe it's lunchtime. The one I was at was lunchtime. So lunchtime sessions with folks that have been invaluable. So all three people who are with us today are Hopkins Connected, Survivorship Program Connected, have joined us in the past. And so I gave a brief, very poor introduction of each person, but now we'll have everybody go around and sort of introduce themselves, do a proper job of introducing themselves. And then one of the fun things we like to do, because despite my suit, we always say we're a very fireside chat kind of environment. One fun thing about you that is not resume based. So somebody in the past mentioned they play English handbells. Somebody played on a softball team, and all sorts of different things. One person's a woodcutter, so woodworker. So a more appropriate introduction of yourself, and then also one fun fact about you. And only because this is how you're arranged in my screen. Mindy, do you want to go first?
Sure. All right. Thanks. So nice meeting everybody. So I am a Qigong instructor, and I want to start with my fun fact. My fun fact is that I am a really talented assistant fort builder. So I help my grandson build forts. And as my grandson will tell you, my garage is a mess. And yet he also said that when he goes in there, he appreciates, because whatever he needs, he can always find in there to build his fort, including weatherproofing. And so that for me ties in with Qigong, because it's about resources and about materials. It's about accessing resources and materials that are outside of us and the resources that are inside of us. And so for me, my awareness or my introduction to Qigong started when I watched a Maryland Public Television information fundraiser with a man named Lee Holton, who is a master instructor. And I was just so engaged with the whole program that I bought the whole package deal. And I've been doing it ever since. And I have been trained and certified with Lee and with a couple other of Qigong masters and teachers. And I practice Qigong every day. And my main motivation for practicing it myself is to increase my energy, my vitality, and decrease the stress levels so that I can be calm, so that I can more appropriately respond to situations in life rather than react to them. And currently, Because of COVID, I've actually been able to teach more people since we're going online. And I teach a variety of people, including children and adults with strokes and aphasia, cancer, people in grieving groups, people with dementia and Alzheimer's, just a wide variety of people. And it's my pleasure to bring the benefits of the simple movements of Qigong and the simple focused breathing to all of you today. So thanks so much. I'm really humbled by being with this crowd here. So thank you.
Thank you. Antoinette, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hi, Dr. Wethington. So Dr. Wethington and I met, like she said, several years ago when we started working with survivorship. And at that time, I was a GYN oncology nurse navigator working with Doctors Jeffrey Lynn and Mildred Chernovsky at Sibley Hospital. And since then, I've transferred and transitioned to become a peri-anesthesia nurse. My background is in critical care. And so it was, though, during the time when I was a GYN oncology nurse navigator that I met a patient who was an ovarian cancer survivor. And she knew that I practiced yoga for more than 20 years. And she really encouraged me to get my certification as a 200-hour yoga teacher. And so I went ahead and I did that. I studied under Yanni Chapman, who was a yoga for cancer teacher. And I started teaching right away with circle yoga, yoga for women with cancer. And then from there, I've been working now toward my 500 hours. So now I'll graduate in June for that and specialize now in yoga for women with cancer. So it's an honor to be able to be here tonight. And one fun fact today. So today I was in the PACU taking care of a patient. And for some reason, we got on one of these serendipitous conversations. And she mentioned to me that she's been journaling since she was 16. I told her I happen to have been journaling since I was 17. So that's my fun fact. This is just a stack of journals just from me being 40 years old. And now I'm on my 30th journal. And so that's this one. And so I wanted to show that to you. And it's been such a wonderful ride. And I bring that up because journaling is a great therapeutic way to start to channel in some of the things that are going on in your life, in your cancer process, both for cancer survivors and for also for caregivers. So thanks so much for letting me be here tonight.
Absolutely. I loved that you mentioned journaling because I don't journal. I never have, but it is something that comes up all the time with patients and caregivers and friends. And I have a child who's in the early stages of journaling, although she wouldn't call it that yet. And so actually our last webinar in May is going to be about journaling or writing. And we're going to have some speakers someone who blogs, someone who journals, someone who's written a book, sort of talking about this practice as you go through cancer. So I love that you brought that up because I think it comes up so frequently, and it is another great way to channel energy and process energy. Dr. Gold, do you want to go next?
Can you hear me okay through this mask? Okay, great. I apologize for wearing a mask. I'm in the waiting room of my daughter's gymnastics, so have to be a little flexible these days with where we are, no pun intended. But thank you for the introduction, Dr. Wethington. I think that really did capture a lot of what I do. I'm a clinical psychologist, and a lot of my time is spent running mindfulness programs for patients from all different specialties that are referred to me, as well as with faculty and staff, as Dr. Wethington mentioned. And the mindfulness is something really near and dear to my heart. I was introduced to it when I was doing my postdoctoral fellowship and had never heard of it before, and I took a course on it, and it was really transformative for me because I realized I never ever lived in the present moment. And so the idea was just so incredibly life-changing that I started teaching it to my patients, and then I got certified in mindfulness-based stress reduction and pretty much dedicate as much of my clinical work as I'm able to to these concepts. So I'm delighted to have you here. I think the research around mindfulness and mindfulness programs, as well as the other speakers, what you're going to hear from the other speakers today, is so compelling, and for all different patients and for cancer survivors. And so I hope that you can walk away with some tools today that will be helpful. A fun fact that's so much was disappointing, because I had so much of a harder time coming up with one than I thought I would. But I was like, am I that boring? A fun fact about me is that since I was a little kid, I can write a lot of rhyming songs and poetry, and it comes to me very naturally. And so I will write little verses and poems for fun, and it's something that now I see my children are able to do. So I don't know if there's a genetic basis for that, or if they've just picked it up from me, but something that's pretty fun to do. Thank you for being here. I'm really thrilled to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I think that's fun. A nice start and nice introductions. What I'd like to do now, so I think even for myself, who's interacted with all of you before and actually seen everybody do their thing, so to speak, or demonstrate or walk us through activities, I think even for me, it's always helpful to get the visual and to sort of a refresh on what are we talking about and what does it mean to practice mindfulness, to practice yoga, or to practice Qigong. And so, which I still say wrong, and I don't know why I have such a mind block, so I apologize, Mindy. What would be nice is if each of you would start with just a demonstration, 5 to 10 minutes, or however long it takes to give us a flavor of what your practice is like, or what a session with you would be like, or however you want to frame it. And again, just because it's kind of the order of my screen, Mindy, do you want to start, or?
Sounds good. That
Okay.
sounds great. Okay.
Excellent.
So one thing that I ask, which is probably going to be the same for Antoinette and Fernanda, is to be in a comfortable place. So for me, you could be seated, standing, you can be in bed, you can be in a wheelchair. You want to stay within your range of motion at all times. With Qigong, there is no pain. So if you sense any pain, you just stop right away. And you can always, again, stop, or you can also just modify and adjust the movement. The idea is for you to take care of yourself and for you to be comfortable. I don't know if you can hear the music in the background. Some people complain when I play it because it muffles things. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so wherever you are, if you're seated or standing, and I will adjust the computer if I'm coming closer or going farther away. So the first thing you want to do is just allow your arms just to float up and then float them down. So simple movement, floating your arms up nice and slowly and down nice and slowly. And have your feet about shoulder width apart. I might have gotten off there and can just rejoin me. So your feet about shoulder width apart, and just let your knees just slightly bend as if you're sitting on a bar stool. And now inhale up and exhale down. And use your arms almost as if you're conducting an orchestra. So you're moving your arms slowly and conducting your breath. So inhale coming up and exhale down. And in Qigong, I like to say you can be curious, aware, and notice. In other words, I can be curious, I can be aware, I can notice. I'm allowing myself into the present moment. And here, feel your feet on the floor and feel yourself just rooted to the ground as if you have roots growing straight into the earth. And that earth energy can keep us grounded and centered and balanced. Inhale up. And this time, if you're comfortable, exhale through your mouth. Sensing and feeling the air as it comes in and the air as it goes out. And then inhale and exhale. Now this time, inhale and gather any negative energy or negative emotions in your body and blow them out. And inhale and gather the negative energy and emotions and blow them out. And inhale and exhale. Now with palms facing up, let your arms float up to about waist height. Turn your palms down and float them down. Inhale as your hands come up and exhale down. So Qigong is made up of 2 words or 2 syllables, depending upon if you make it 1 word or 2 words. The first Qi is our life force energy. Gong is the skill or practice of using the life force energy. And we want our life force energy to be abundant and flowing. And the concept in Qigong, which is part of Chinese medicine, it's the same system of acupressure and acupuncture. It's the meridian lines in the body. And the belief is that energy gets stuck. It gets stuck, it gets stagnant, and we want to keep it moving. So we do different movements and sounds to move, to break it up and move it. So now inhale coming up. And now we're going to be a little bit more assertive and push down with wrist bent. So inhale and exhale. And we're going to add the k sound. So inhale, k. And if you think of the word that rhymes with truck, which I am not allowed to say on Zoom, it's a cuss word that some people will use, k. How do you feel when you say that word? K. So think about just releasing negative energy, just any tension in your body, k. And sense and feel your body. Sense and feel, how do you feel when you say that? Ka! Now shifting. Imagine, and Qigong is based on observations of nature, and it uses our imaginations and visualization. So imagine you're on a small fishing boat off the coast of wherever you want to be, and you're going to pick up this really heavy net, and you're going to just launch it across your body. And we're going to add the sound hey. So join me. Hey! Only if you're comfortable, you can always modify or just watch. Hey! Hey! Now freeze there for a second and notice the elongation of your body. You might be on the tip of your big toe all the way out to the tip of your middle finger. You're opening up your body so that your lungs can take a really nice deep breath, which is really important, especially during COVID. You're giving space to all your internal organs, and you're opening up all those meridian lines. All right, 3 more times with hey. Ready? Hey! 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 And now the other side. Hey! 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 We'll do 3 more. Hey! 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 Good. Now hands over your heart space. So in Qigong, we want to balance. We want to balance the active energy and the quiet energy, the yin and the yang. And so with hands just over your heart space, those movements might have gotten your heart rate up, your breathing rate up, and now we want to just bring them back to balance. And go inside yourself and be curious and be aware. And notice when you do those movements, when you say k and when you say hey, how do you feel? It's almost impossible to say hey, I don't know why, but it's almost impossible to say hey without smiling. So how does it feel when you smile? Can you feel it warm your heart space? Can you feel a smile on your lips? Can you feel it in your eyes? If someone's wearing a mask, can you see that smile in their eyes? And can you feel that smile as it goes into every single cell in your whole body? Can you feel the energy shift? Now allow your arms just to glide down. And now inhaling up. Again, moving your arms as if you're a conductor, conducting your breath. Inhale up and exhale down. We're inhaling as much as we can into our bellies, which gives that diaphragm muscle the nice ability to push down. So our lungs are taking the deep breath, pushing on the diaphragm muscle, and then massaging our internal organs. Now breathe all the way up and flip your arms as if you're catching the moonlight, and then down. This one, the wave comes in and pauses before it goes out to sea. So visualize here a wave and pauses, comes in to shore and pauses, just like in music. When we listen to music, there's a pause. Sometimes the melody pauses between notes and you pause. And how do you feel in that stillness? How do you feel in that pause, in that emptiness of the mind in the moment? And then out. Now water waves, just letting our hands move through water. So just think about this organ system now as kidney organ system. Think about winter. We're still in winter. What happens to water in winter? When it freezes. So in Chinese medicine, different organ systems hold different emotions. And they're affiliated with different seasons. Right now, we're the kidney organ system, we're winter, and the element is water. So think about frozen water. And the emotion that's held here is fear and lack of trust, especially in ourselves. So we're going to make a healing sound to help break up that stuck energy. And the healing sound is like a train, or as if you're sneezing. Choo, choo, releasing the stuck energy of the emotion of fear or lack of trust. Choo, choo. Now circle around and bring in the most beautiful shade of blue you can imagine. If you're comfortable reaching around mid-back to the kidneys, or even over lower belly, because part of that system is the bladder. And we're just going to bring in trust. Trust in ourselves, appropriate trust in others, and calmness and quietness, like the water of a river when it's gently flowing. And in Chinese medicine, this water energy of the kidney organ system moves to the wood energy of the liver organ system. And that is a season of spring that we're going into. The liver organ system holds anger and frustration and irritation. Now just make fists. So Qigong is the mother of Tai Chi and martial arts. So right now you're in that martial arts position and you feel strong and grounded and balanced. And we're just going to breathe in and we're going to punch away and let go. So here, gather up any anger that you're feeling. Anger at yourself, punch it away and let it go. If you're angry at someone else, punch it away and let it go. If you're angry at a situation, punch away and let it go. Now we'll add sound as wind going through trees. Shh, 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 shh. Now punch, turn your palm up and let kindness fall into your palm and bring kindness to yourself. Punch away, let go, and kindness that you can share with someone else. Punch away, let go, and kindness that you can shed on a situation. Punch away and let go. Now circle your arms around and bring in the most beautiful shade of green of spring, right into the liver organ system on the right side of your body, and fill yourself with kindness. Especially as women, it's so hard for us to be kind to ourselves, be compassionate with ourselves. And taking time to feel that energy and let it spread. Now, with feet together, if you're comfortable, just circle up and around. This is pulling down the heavens to finish. So here you want to circle around, pull down the pearly white of a full moon. And let that connect in with your lung organ system, allowing you to take a deeper breath. Feel your feet still rooted to the ground. When you feel safe and secure, it's easier to take a deeper breath. Now pull down starlight, the light of one star, and bring that into your body. Let it illuminate the light that's already in you. Feel your relationship, your connection Communicate with yourself on the inside. Let your light shine. Circle around again, bringing in that starlight and encouraging, acknowledging, and allowing the light in others to shine. We're always in relationship and connecting and communicating inside of ourselves and outside of ourselves. Hands like in a basket in front of you and circling. This is just called centering. That ability to feel your own resiliency, to acknowledge your feelings, to move away the negative ones so they don't take hold of us, and to bring ourselves back into the present moment, feeling grounded and rooted and centered and balanced. And now hands up to the heart space and breathing in and out. Feel the strength and the power in your own heartbeat. Feel the gentleness of your own heartbeat. And feel the strength and the power and the gentleness of your own breath. And I thank you so much for allowing me to be with all of you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. That was excellent. And we could have kept going. In a typical session, how long would a typical session be? Is it 30 minutes, 60 minutes?
I modify it according to the participants. The minimum I really want to do is 30 minutes. That being said, we do a wake up one that's 20 minutes just to get everybody's energy flowing in the morning. And that's like tapping on meridians and all. I prefer an hour. However, a lot of people are more comfortable with 45 minutes. It fits into their day a little bit. So I modify. I should just want to show you one thing. I always, even though I've done this for a while now, I always have my cheat sheets. So, my cheat sheets are always there. I usually miss something. And I just modified. With those movements, in a longer class, we would do all the organ systems, and we would do the healing sounds for the lungs. We would do it for the heart. We would do it for the spleen and stomach. And the beauty of Qigong to me, and of the way I look at an understanding of Chinese medicine, it's the whole body. So we want that energy in the whole body to be abundant and flowing. And so going through the whole series, we can concentrate on a certain organ system, a certain element, a certain season. But again, it's with the objective of getting it flowing, decreasing stress, increasing energy and vitality.
That's great. I was thinking while you were finishing up sort of who to go to next, whether to have Antoinette or Dr. Gould go next. I think it probably doesn't matter so much, so I'll just continue on my path along. Antoinette, do you wanna go next?
Yes, I'd love to. And Mindy, I want to say thank you because I feel so much more grounded. I also want to just honor Dr. Susan Berger because she was a huge Qigong fan. And she is one of the reasons why we're all here today to talk about gynecologic cancers and the support of women. In my practice in yoga, especially when I'm teaching yoga for women with cancer, because I was a GYN oncology nurse navigator, I ran a support group for many years. And so I like to incorporate a little bit of that in the practice. And so oftentimes my practice will be 1 hour long. Currently I teach at Circle Yoga. And so if you're interested in that, you can go to circleyoga.com and go to donation-based classes. And then you'll find my name and be able to participate in a class. There, what we normally do is we do a check-in. So usually there's anywhere between 4, 8, or 10 women who have either gynecologic cancer or a gynecologic or breast cancer combination. And many of them are either going through treatment currently, or maybe they're in remission and they're waiting for their next scan. So there's a lot of things that come up in that. And to be able to check in with another woman who's walking your walk is a very impactful and profound thing. It's something that none of us can do because we're not there. But I can walk the journey with you and guide you with the women that are currently walking the walk. So we start off with a little check-in. How's it going? What was your week like? Because we do this weekly. And then from there, we'll go into a bit of breath work. And so we may do a 3-part breath work, and we're going to do a little bit of that. I'm going to give you just a very small snapshot of what a larger class would look like. Again, a class might be like a whole hour. And again, focusing on things that might be hone in for you, resonate with you, such as chemo-induced peripheral neuropathy. So we start to kind of hone in proprioceptively on what's happening in our fingertips and the feet that might feel like blocks after chemotherapy, or maybe chronic pain. And so the breath work kind of hones in on that. Or maybe it's a lymphatic issue. So remember, we're dealing with either breast cancer or GYN cancers, or a combination of the two. So doing lymphatic massage to be able to start to activate these areas, these like grapefruit clusters that fall here and in our necks and in our thoracic cavity and here in our pelvic region, to be able to make those systems start to work, that process our white blood cells and transport our fatty acids and be able to do the work that we need to, we start to create movement that can start to hone in on that. So this is my home studio. This is where I teach now. I teach both yoga for women with cancer, and then I also teach I teach twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays for Hopkins to our employees in the community. I wanted this to be an all-inclusive class. So I'm going to show you some basic movements from a chair. That way, if you're unable to get down to the floor and you have a chair and you're sitting here watching this webinar, you're able to participate. If you're able to get down to a floor, I'm also going to show you from here too. If we were to sit on the floor, we would be seated in Sukhasana, or our easy pose, a crisscross kind of fashion. You could also sit up on a block or a blanket to kind of elevate the torso. From here, if we're in our chair and you happen to have yoga blocks, you could place them under your feet, allowing the floor to come to you. We now have our knees at hip height. And we can start to sit tall however we are. So let's begin our practice for just a moment. We'll probably do about maybe 8 minutes or so together. We can either close the eyes or keep the gaze soft if that feels safe to us. With our hands in our lap, we can start to go inward, letting everything kind of around you dissipate. You're in your own home studio. We remember that yoga is this mind-body activity, right? It's this movement through a series of body poses, but also breathing exercises. It improves our strength, our flexibility, our balance, and our concentration. But more than that, it starts to open us up to the possibilities of what could be. It might also help us start to allow some good feelings toward our bodies that might be going through some challenging situations. Taking a good deep inhale in, let's inhale for 1 and 2 and 3, and then exhale for 1, 2, and 3. Inhaling, placing your hand on your abdomen, we feel the belly expand, 2 and 3, and then exhaling for 1, 2, and 3. Just allowing a natural rhythm of breath in and out. So maybe your one hand's on your heart and one hand's on your belly. Again, this is a little bit of a faster snapshot of what could be. But remembering that in times when we feel like we don't have control, we have control over our breath and that ability to take a good deep inhale in and an exhale out. And so now opening our eyes, we'll begin some movement. So either seated in your chair or seated on the floor, let's inhale and raise the arms overhead if that feels comfortable to you. As you raise your arms overhead, we start to draw our energy up through the middle fingers. We start to root down with the sits bones and grow tall along the arms, and then exhale down just our right arm. If we're seated in a chair, we can place our right hand to the seat of the chair and now root down with that right hand, rise up a little higher with the left arm. Same thing if you're on the floor. And then let's head over, taking a nice stretch over toward the right side. Coming back up as we inhale, good deep inhale. And an exhale, heading down left arm. Rising up with that right arm now as we root down with the left arm. And then let's head over toward the left side. Again, we feel that right side body as it lengthens and expands. And then come back as we reach up and inhale, good deep inhale. Let's do a gentle twist. So we'll take our right hand to our left knee, our left hand right behind us, and we twist from the abdomen. So this is a wonderful digestive massage as we inhale in and exhale out. And then come back as we reach up and extend, good deep inhale. And exhale, let's head over to the left side, our right hand to our left knee. That right hand's right behind us, and we start to push the torso up again, twisting from the abdomen. We could take a good deep belly breath, letting the belly expand and then contract back. And then let's come back, reaching up, good deep inhale. Exhale out halfway, like we're gonna give somebody a giant hug. And don't we all want to be able to do that again? Reach out and extend as you fan the fingertips. And as you exhale, start to round the back and take the hands toward one another. Inhaling as we rise, reaching out. Exhaling, hands come together. Inhaling to expand. And then exhale, hands come together. Hands come out toward one another now. Take your left hand and place it on top of your right biceps muscle. And start to take that right hand slightly behind you and up, grabbing the back of that right elbow. Just a little gentle stretch. You could take a gentle bend over toward the left side. And now gently stroke down from the elbow, going all the way down below the armpit. Just gentle strokes. Again, here we are starting to activate the lymphatic region right near the breast. Encouraging that to start to do its work. Reaching up, good deep inhale. Exhale, just grab your left elbow, send that left hand in between the shoulder blades, a gentle rock over toward the right side so you get a nice stretch here. And then keeping that elbow bent, just gently stroke down on the left side. For 2 and 3. Let's reach up, both arms come up, and then we're going to come up to a standing, good deep inhale. And as we exhale, hands come down. So if you're coming from a chair and you're standing right next to a chair, sometimes with peripheral neuropathy, we start to lose our balance. Having our hand on a chair is a wonderful way to be able to access our core and not worry so much about what's happening. So practicing from a chair is great. If you happen to have good balance and you can come into a prayer position for just a moment, let's be here together. We'll gently rock up onto the toes of the feet and then gently rock back onto the heels. Rocking up onto the toes, slightly lifting the heels off the mat, and then coming back, lifting the toes off, and now let's settle down. It's that rooting down and connection of our feet. Sometimes if we can't even feel our feet, we know that that's there. And that's that firm foundation from which we can stand on and stand tall. Let's inhale in. We're going to finish our practice as we inhale in, and then exhale, come down as we forward fold. If the back is okay and no issues, inhale up to a half lift. And then I'm going to show you one last thing. Again, this is much faster. We would go into warriors together and be able to do a few other things with balance. But I just want to show you one more thing before I go. And that is honoring our lymphatic system here for GYN cancers, doing something we call Viparita Karani. So you can do this either from a bed, you can do this by placing your back on the floor with your legs up onto a couch. I'm going to demonstrate it here using a chair. This is a wonderful thing to do. If you're on your feet a lot, you can come home at the end of the day, bring your feet up onto a chair, and just start to relax as you take your palms up, allowing the shoulders to just fall away toward the mat. Now the fluid starts to go in a different direction, right? And now it starts to hone in on the lymphatic system here in the pelvic region. It starts to create less work now, and so that we can have a little bit of relief to tired legs or any sort of fluid imbalance. We finish off our practice with a meditation, and we're going to let Dr. Gould do that. But I wanted to say thank you so much for letting me just share a few things with you of what we do in a Yoga for Women with Cancer practice. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Thank you. That was fabulous. I feel as was mentioned, Antoinette and I sort of first met when she was a GYN cancer nurse navigator at Sibley, and we worked together on the conference. And I have to admit, going through that with you reminded me sort of all the wonderful things about you and all the wonderful reasons why I enjoyed doing that, and how thoughtful you are about kind of each little step in all of it. So that was a great, I think, intro to your practice and how you apply it to women with GYN cancers. So that was fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Gold, last but absolutely not least, because this is amazing, I hope everybody's going to enjoy it as much as I do. Do you want to take us through your practice of a mindfulness meditation practice? I think is
Yeah, absolutely. And that was actually a really good segue. It was really nice to have both Mindy and Antoinette go, and those were terrific practices. One reason that it was a good segue was because those forms of movement, really incorporate meditation in them. And some people really see yoga and Qigong as meditative practices in some ways, whereby you're bringing the anchor of your attention to the present moment with that movement and that stillness. The other reason it was really helpful for me to go last was because when you meditate, one way to help uh, settle the mind is to do some form of movement beforehand. So whether it's yoga or some form of exercise. So that was wonderful. So for meditation or mindfulness meditation, the specific type of meditation that I teach and practice, you don't have to change anything. So I want to distinguish that it's different than relaxation, whereby you're doing something with the intention to feel different afterwards. Here, you're bringing attention to your experiences, and whether those are internal or external experiences. And the idea is that we spend so much of our time not in the present moment, and especially during times of stress, when we're not in the present moment, our mind gravitates towards stress. And so we miss out on what's happening in the present moment. And even if the present moment is stressful, we miss out on building resilience to be with that stress. And so one benefit of practicing mindfulness is that you build up tolerance and resilience to be with difficult experiences. And there's wonderful research for cancer patients in general, but that there's decreases in depression and anxiety following regular mindfulness practices, and also physical functioning, fatigue, and sleep, and as well as kind of a decrease in the fear of recurrence. And that makes a lot of sense, because that fear is a thought about the future. And so if we're mindful and we come back to the present moment, we can notice those distressing thoughts, but not believe them as true or get caught up in the cycle. So I'm going to guide you through kind of a practice that will touch on the different anchors that you can use to ground yourself back into the present moment. So you can find a comfortable position for yourself. These practices can induce sleep. And so think about what your intention is. So if you want to use them before bedtime to go to sleep, that's wonderful. But to build that muscle of mindfulness and get better at this practice, which can be very challenging, you want to be awake. So you can gently close your eyes or just have a soft, focused gaze in front of you. And let's take a couple of deep breaths together. A nice deep breath in, and then a long, slow exhalation. And when you're ready, another deep breath in, and again a long, slow exhalation. And one more time, deep breath in, and then letting go, letting go. Letting go of where you were a few moments ago and where you need to be later today. And just for these next few moments, allowing yourself the gift of returning to the present. Returning your breathing back to its normal rhythm. And let's check in with our body to begin with, and sensations in the body. After those wonderful practices you just did, you might notice a change in sensation since when you first joined this meeting. Perhaps a sense of increased blood flow or tingling in different parts of the body. And there is no right or wrong way to feel. We're just bringing attention to sensations in the body and noticing them. You can just label whatever sensations are present. If there's discomfort somewhere in the body, just note that discomfort. Note if you begin to attach a story to that discomfort. And gently come back to the sensations. Noting the sensations and just asking yourself, can I be with this for just a moment? And if the answer is no, that's okay. Bring your attention to some place that feels more comfortable in the body. Now let's shift our attention outward to sounds around us. Begin to notice sounds in your environment. Notice spaces of silence. Moment by moment, just noticing sounds coming to you. See if you can also check in with your thoughts, as if you're stepping back and just observing your thoughts, as if you're watching a movie. Noticing, am I thinking about the future? Thinking about the past? Ruminating on something? Worrying? Whatever it may be, that moment we can note that. We can get a little bit of distance from it and not get swept away by our thoughts. Let's shift once more our attention to our emotions. And here, as you've done with the other practices today, you can place one or both hands over your heart if you'd like. And just ask yourself, how am I feeling in this moment? And again, there is no wrong answer. Whatever you're feeling is exactly what's supposed to be here. We're just making some space for it. Even if it's uncomfortable, can you just allow that emotion to be here just a little bit? How am I feeling right now? And noting, labeling what's here. And for a moment, just sensing yourself, your body and your thoughts, your emotions and your breath. Holding all of that in your broad awareness. And then gently returning back to your breath. Noticing, breathing in, noticing, breathing out. And with this next breath, being present from the breath at the beginning, through the middle, and to the end. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes and gently stretch out if you'd like. This was an interesting experience for me trying to run this in the lobby of a gymnastics. So I apologize for the background noise, and it really did test my ability to be mindful.
You did great.
Thank you. So you can practice this for a minute. You can practice this for an hour, and you know, all of that has benefits. It has different types of benefits. People always ask, well, what's the magic amount I should practice? And there really isn't a magic number, but the more you practice, the more you begin to be able to call on this as a tool during times of stress. And also, these are insight-oriented practices. So you begin to gain more insight into an awareness of yourself. So that's the one difference that can occur from shorter duration practices to longer. But I do recommend that people practice, maybe start with 5 minutes a day if you've never done meditation, and then try to build up to 20 minutes a day. But the most important thing is that you make it a habit. And that's what the way we try to really build the muscle of mindfulness. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I think that's true for each of the practices. They all have overlap without a doubt. And I think we all got a good sense of that here tonight, is where the overlap lies, where the uniqueness in each of the practices lies. And I think probably everyone would say the greatest benefits come from a consistency of practice over time, and then also an understanding. I know it's probably going to be shocking to people that I try to intellectualize the different things, but Mindy, as you were talking, thinking about the different parts of the body, the different ways energy is flowing, the different seasons, like there's such like almost like a scientific rigor about how it's not almost there is like a sort of scientific rigor in terms of how it's put together. And I imagine that the more one understands, the sort of greater the benefit comes from the practice itself. Just like Dr. Gold, you're saying, the more you practice mindful meditation, the more insight you begin to pick up. Is there, if one is to start, probably most of the people listening tonight and most of our survivors and their caregivers and family and friends, it's probably a smaller percentage that currently have a practice, a mindfulness practice, a yoga, a Qigong practice. One of the things tonight, most people have probably tuned in because they don't. And Dr. Gold, you mentioned explicitly sort of when starting, what timelines to start with. Mindy and Antoinette, is there a frequency that you recommend when folks start? Is once a week enough? can somebody mix it all up and do one day and one the next? And
Absolutely. I mean, I think that mixing up a practice is such an important thing. You know, I mean, I try to do 10 minutes of meditation each morning, and I use the Calm app, and that's been a really great resource for me. And I know it's a 10-minute meditation, so I'm able to achieve it. With regard to yoga, you know, you could start off with once a week and see how that goes, or maybe do a 20-minute practice or 5-minute practice and start very basic, and then start to kind of ramp your way up. Or, you know, or try to attend one of the Sunday classes with me and see how that feels to you. Mindy?
For me personally, Qigong has become a lifestyle. So it's based on Taoism, which is Chinese philosophy. So when I look at my life now and I look at the quality of my energies and of my emotions and of my relationships, so each day I center myself in that, and I have my breathing to go to. So pretty much as both of you pointed out on the screen in front of me, the instructors, we use our breath to be rooted and anchored in the present moment. I do that every day. I start the day each day in the shower with like a brush, and I brush the meridians to get the energy going. So, and then do the mindfulness breathing. Qigong is really called mindfulness in motion. And what I appreciate about the three of us being here is you really can do all three, because all three can be part of your self-care to the quality of your health and healing and your wholeness. And, you know, I tried yoga years ago. I wasn't really great at it. I might try it again now, because you know, it's gonna help my muscles a little bit more. Qigong and so many exercises will definitely get the muscle power in there. I love the meditation, the quietness. I really appreciate the background, and appreciate also the fact that, you know, that you just work through the noise. So we all were able to see you be mindful and present in a moment when there was all this around you. And basically that's how we all live our lives. So how can we be mindful when there's all this stuff going on around us, whether it's really going on around us or just the chatter in our minds, how we can bring it back to mindfulness. So again, it's an honor to present this to all of you today, and I can't see your faces, so I don't know all of you out there, but I am waving, and just to be with all of you today. Just so thank you.
Absolutely. I always promise our speakers that we'll end right at 8 o'clock. And I actually think, Mindy, you summed it up perfectly, and less is more. So I should say much less, but I'm about to. But I want to make one small link, which is that bringing the three of you here, all three of you have a connection to our group and a connection to Johns Hopkins and to our GYN cancer survivors. All three of you have online options for folks because of COVID. And so we have all your information, and we've been putting it on our Facebook group and in our social media. And we're going to continue to do that, because the other piece that our series this spring is about is a lead in to our annual race that we do each year. And our race is on June 5th, and it's coming up, and we've started advertising, and we've started letting people know. And I didn't mean June 5th, I meant June 6th. And I know somebody out there right now is wondering if I got my dates mixed up, and I did. It's June 6th. But all of this is actually geared towards, since we can't be together in person for the race, finding ways to be together virtually or be together in spirit while we all have our individual practices, finding individual ways to be healthy. So instead of it just being about a single day race, being about finding new practices in the new year in our post-COVID era of finding personal wellness and personal health. So my hope is that as we've sort of been talking about finding our individual healthy road and building a healthy roads program for each of us as individuals, everybody who listened tonight and everybody who will listen to our Facebook feed that stays up and watch our YouTube videos, and leading up to the race on June 6th, will incorporate these practices into their individual healthy road. And hopefully tonight has given everybody an introduction so they can decide what works for them, choose all three, whatever combination works. But I hope that this will be something that everybody in our circle incorporates, because I think there are, as was mentioned, a lot of health benefits, and for everyone, not just cancer patients, but also for cancer patients. And so I hope everybody takes this information. I hope they incorporate it. And I hope as they are building their individual wellness strategies or their healthy roads, that they will have found tonight beneficial. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot thank you all enough. I hope everybody has a good rest of your evening, and that we will get to do something in person in the not too near future. So good night, everybody.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Thank you.